We deal with racism on a daily basis, but I feel like if you're in sports or anything like that, the media literally tries to drive the racism narrative going on, especially with this new athlete that's in the WNBA named Caitlyn Clark. I started watching Caitlyn Clark in college, and she's a damn good basketball player. I love seeing what she can do. She averages so many assists, and she had a rival, Angel Reese, and they kept going back and forth with each other. And Caitlyn Clark never won a championship, but Angel Reese did, and they rubbed it in her face. And people started to bring up a little bit of racism, but all of it was competitiveness. And after that, they went into the WNBA, and now since Caitlyn Clark is in the WNBA, it feels like they're bringing up her skin color more than her basketball play. I totally understand that whiteness is a thing. I know that white people probably have a little bit more privilege than others, but I don't feel like that's the case with Caitlyn Clark. But people in the media, especially ESPN, are starting to drive that narrative. You even have people like Pat McAfee, who's an analyst on ESPN, calling Caitlyn Clark out of her name, called her a white bee. And what reason would he have for saying that? There's no reason to be calling someone out of their names besides what I feel like a little bit of racism. You even have Jamil Hill saying that Caitlyn Clark's fans are trying to put Caitlyn Clark like she's the head of the Ku Klux Klan. Like, what kind of people actually say that? Caitlyn Clark, she doesn't fall for any of this. The people in the media are trying to paint her as someone that she's not. They're trying to make her seem like she's only using her whiteness to gain advantage in the WNBA, but in reality, she's just a damn good basketball player. You do see in the WNBA that there are black players that are going against Caitlyn Clark. And for what reason? Nobody honestly knows the true answer to that. It could be jealousy. It could be racism. But how is Caitlyn Clark handling all of this? She's not saying anything. She's just playing basketball. She finds it weird that the media is actually trying to drive this narrative, that some of the players on the court that are actually going at Caitlyn Clark, causing, terrible fouls, hard fouls against her. Like, she's saying like she's not here for that. She's here to play basketball. She doesn't know why people are trying to drive this narrative. Caitlyn Clark even says that she wants to be treated the same way that every single woman in the WNBA wants to be treated, with respect. She doesn't want any special treatment. She just wants to play the game of basketball. And just because she's white doesn't mean she should gain any privilege. She's there. She's earned her spot like everybody else. But people will continue to use her whiteness, continue to try to bring her name down and use racism in any kind of way to make Caitlyn Clark seem like this racial figure for some reason. But Caitlyn Clark is literally there to play the game of basketball, and I love that Caitlyn Clark stands up for everybody, stands up for herself. She doesn't fall into these traps that the narrative that the media is trying to paint against her. It doesn't make any sense on why they're trying to do that. Caitlyn Clark is a good basketball player, like I've said already, but the media is going to continue to drive this racism narrative and try to make it seem like there are black players going up against a white player, which would be Caitlyn Clark. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a game of basketball. It's competitiveness. People want to be competitive. They want to do the best that they can on the court, but for some reason they want to keep driving the racism narrative, and I really don't know why.